Powered by Avo Technology.
How strong is the sixth sense of a retired Special Forces soldier? Jack experiences a peculiar situation while withdrawing money from an ATM. A woman ahead of him appears to be in distress, trembling with visible injuries. Jack notices a black van parked on the roadside and realizes something is amiss.
Don't turn around. I can help you. Keep taking out money. That minivan to my left, that yours?
Yes.
Just for clarity, you've been carjacked, right?
My child is in the back seat.
Gun? Stay here. This won't take long.
The carjacker inside remains unaware of the impending danger. Showcasing the combat capability of a retired Special Forces soldier. Jack Reacher's second season is finally online, and today we'll delve into the interpretation of this hardcore and thrilling series. Resolving the crisis, Jack departs confidently and returns to the ATM. However, upon examining the withdrawal receipt, he is left stunned. He visits a second-hand clothing store, borrows the phone from a female clerk, and contacts his comrade, Negley. The information on the receipt is a secret distress signal Negley discreetly transmitted. Negley urgently requests Jack to come to New York. Carl was murdered, and his connection with Jack dates back several years. At that time, Jack was a military officer, and Carl served as one of his soldiers. Jack and Negley meet at a restaurant. Negley reveals that Carl went missing about a week ago, and his body was discovered in the mountains a few days later. The day before the incident, Carl had contacted Negley, expressing a desire to learn more about the case he was investigating. Negley, preoccupied at the time, didn't pay much attention, and by the time she remembered, Carl had already been killed. Feeling responsible for the tragedy, Negley shares details from the case file. Carl's stomach contained only mucus, indicating prior mistreatment. If the motive wasn't revenge, then Carl possessed critical information that the killer wanted to keep hidden. Before launching a formal investigation, Jack decides to meet Carl's widow. After finishing the hamburgers in their hands, as the two exited the restaurant, the bald man quickly made a mark, while the bearded man reported their movements over the phone to someone. Jack and his companion found Carl's wife and learned an important piece of information from her. On the day Carl had an incident, she returned home to find it in disarray, as if someone was searching for something. Since Carl never brought work-related items home, they decided to go to Carl's office to look for clues. The office had already been searched, evident from the scattered rubbish. Jack speculated that the individuals at that time were angry and unsuccessful in finding what they wanted. Moreover, judging from the sawed-off table legs, the target was something small. At this moment, Negley looked outside and suddenly understood something. Carl was a shrewd person. If he wanted to hide something important, it would be in a safe and easily accessible place. Negley picked up her keys, and Jack instantly understood. Carl likely hid the item in a United States Postal Service box. Since the staff had already left for the day, the two had to wait until the next day to approach the staff. Negley provided cover, and Jack, with the keys, began testing each box. After trying several boxes, Jack finally found Carl's box. He grabbed the documents inside and signaled to Negley. The two quickly retreated to the car. Jack continuously examined the documents and soon found a hard drive. Negley took out her computer, but unfortunately, the ports were incompatible. The two had no choice but to return to the hotel. Jack asked Negley to hail a taxi, and she had already guessed Jack's intentions, not stopping him. Jack first went to a church and obtained information about the local flower merchant's active territory from the priest. Afterward, Jack directly headed there.
Crazy motherfucker!
Not only did Jack snatch the flower from the hoodlums, but he also took their handgun and all the cash. The cash served as a reward for the information provided by the priest. Shortly after, Jack returned to the hotel. Unexpectedly, as Negley opened the room door, she suddenly looked tense. Jack also drew his gun. It was only after entering that they discovered the room was in disarray, clearly indicating that someone had sneaked in while they were away. After a thorough search, Jack successfully subdued the man hiding in the room. However, the man held a switchblade against Jack. It was only when Negley recognized the man as David, an old friend, that she quickly intervened and stopped both of them. David claimed he didn't create the mess in the room and had just arrived. As he was about to leave, Jack apprehended him. Later, Negley used an adapter to connect the hard drive to the computer, but they discovered that Carl had encrypted the hard drive. They had only 2 minutes to guess the password, and if they made 3 incorrect attempts, the hard drive would automatically erase. The three of them immediately recalled everything about Carl, trying to analyze possible passwords. The first opportunity was quickly wasted, and with time running out, Negley suddenly thought that the password might be something deeply personal to Carl. The most important person to him was Jack. She entered Jack's initials as the password, and surprisingly, it opened the hard drive. Inside, they found a list with names, all starting with the letter A. David believed that there might be crucial information hidden in the names. In order to investigate the case, they needed more manpower. Jack thought of Swan, who lived in Queens, and the group immediately went to find him. Strangely, even though it wasn't working hours, Swan wasn't at home. Jack sensed something was amiss and decided to break the glass and force entry. In the bathroom, they found a dead pet, dehydrated from the toilet water, being completely consumed. Since Swan loved pets, he wouldn't let them die of thirst. Since Swan hadn't returned, it was apparent that something unfortunate had happened. Both Carl and Swan were members of a special investigation team, making Jack vaguely feel that a major conspiracy was looming over them. Jack discovered that he was being followed, and in his anger, he confronted the pursuer, smashing his car with a powerful kick. As the bald man was about to say something, Jack unleashed a combination of punches, breaking his teeth. However, Negley, approaching, pulled out the man's credentials, revealing that the bald man was a police officer. Assaulting an officer is no trivial matter, so they awkwardly drove away, quickly leaving the city. Jack explained that he had thought the officer was related to the case of his teammate Carl's murder, not realizing he was investigating the same case. Now driving a conspicuous Land Rover, they decided to go to a car rental agency, get an inconspicuous car, and leave the city. However, the police had already identified the three, and renting a car would trigger an alert. In their dilemma, Jack thought of a solution. He had seen his former teammate Carla, who had been working undercover in New York since the disbandment of their team. Upon learning of Jack's presence, she reached out to them, determined to uncover the truth together. After renting a car, they analyzed the contents of Carl's data. Besides numerous strange names, there were also many seemingly random numbers. Julie couldn't decipher any patterns in the numbers. To understand the meaning of the numbers, they needed to find their former team member Sanchez, a math whiz. When they arrived at Sanchez's house, they were shocked to find it in the same chaotic state as Carl's. It seemed he had also met an unfortunate fate. Seeing a special investigation team photo on the floor, they began to worry about the other members. Suddenly, Jack noticed a photo where Sanchez, who disliked taking pictures, had placed a framed photo of himself and a woman, indicating an unusual relationship. They immediately set out for the lucky bar shown in the photo, hoping to find the woman in the picture. Indeed, the woman confirmed herself as Sanchez's girlfriend. Since she left a week ago, there had been no news. On the day she seemed to have received an important call, she spoke some strange words to herself and then disappeared. She mentioned that Sanchez repeated a couple of numbers, sounding surprised or worried. When asked if she remembered the numbers, she replied,
Kinda. He repeated a couple numbers, kind of like he was surprised by them or worried maybe.
Do you remember the numbers?
Yeah. He said 650 at 100K each.
Jack realized that this language was common in casinos, and the case might be related to gambling. The mysterious numbers from before could be related to casino funds. After leaving the team, Sanchez worked as a casino security guard, and he must have discovered something significant there. They found the casino manager, revealed their identities as former special investigation team members, and expressed suspicion about a $65 million gambling scam in the casino. The manager said checking the accounts would take some time and offered them a stay in the luxurious hotel suite for the night. The group checked into the $20,000 a night super presidential suite, but they were too preoccupied to sleep. Jack and Carla took a late-night stroll down the streets, reminiscing about their past battles together. Suddenly, they noticed two people seemingly tailing them on the deserted streets. Carla thought they might be interested in the chips she won from the casino, but Jack believed these individuals came prepared, given their New York license plates. Recognizing them from the highway, Jack suspected they were armed assassins. A scarred man emerged from the car, and the two quickly dove into a nearby construction site to evade pursuit. Unable to call the police due to being pursued by law enforcement, they decided to split up and deal with the attackers individually. The assassin facing Jack slashed his clothes with a knife, prompting Jack to grab a small shovel and counterattack. In a physical confrontation, Jack swiftly overpowered his opponent. While Carla successfully subdued one assassin, the lead scarred man unexpectedly drew a handgun. Fortunately, Jack arrived in time to engage in a fight, saving the day. The scarred man had a taste of 3 pounds of cement for his villainy. From the scarred man's possessions, Jack found car keys and a cell phone. Seeing a number frequently contacted by the scarred man, Jack dialed it without hesitation.
Is it done?
Not in the way you expected.
You're fucking with the wrong guy, Reacher. You should know that this hasn't been well for you.
Then why are you the one that sounds scared?
About to be thrown out at an altitude of 10,000 meters, he laughed uncontrollably.
What's so funny? I was just thinking about what the big guy's gonna do to you.
The old man nodded in agreement, and his subordinates promptly threw the man out of the helicopter.
Big guy? Who the hell was he talking about?
At this moment, the old man couldn't imagine that the man referred to as a big guy was someone capable of kicking a car over with a single foot. With a massive physique and a highly intelligent mind, he was essentially a humanoid tank with maximum combat power. Currently, he was investigating the case of his good friend being thrown into the wilderness. After a night of confrontation, the casino manager found them and informed them that no irregularities were found in the casino accounts. However, during his investigation, the police delivered bad news. The other two members Jack was looking for were discovered dead in the wilderness. They were also tortured and thrown out of a helicopter. Seeing this, Jack couldn't hold back anymore. He left without hesitation and went to a weapons store.
Where the hell are you going?
We're gonna need more guns.
Jack purchased several handguns, and everyone was satisfied with their assigned weapons. They immediately set off for New Generation Corporation. Yesterday, the only trace they found in the killer's car was a parking card from New Generation Corporation. They believed they might find something there. However, halfway to their destination, a police car pulled them over. They thought they were done for. The bald cop from the previous assault arrived, and after a search, he took Jack directly to the police station. Despite being assaulted by Jack previously, the bald cop stated he wouldn't press charges against Jack. Instead, he invited Jack to the police station to assist in solving the case of the special investigation team members being killed. The bald cop provided a clue they hadn't discovered before. In Carl's printer at home, the police found an unprinted email. Due to running out of ink at the time, the paper remained blank. It detailed a plan for a terrorist operation orchestrated by someone named Azari Mahmoud. The police couldn't find any information about this person, but Jack instantly recognized the name starting with A as one of the aliases of the mysterious figure. Jack listed all the names starting with A from the hard drive and asked the police to investigate these individuals' whereabouts. After capturing some information, the bold police officer indeed found that one of the names Jack had written down appeared in the United States. AM had purchased a ticket an hour ago from Denver to Kennedy. Once this person went through boarding procedures, the police could arrest him on the spot. At this moment, the mysterious figure had already arrived at the airport. His habitual observation of every passenger suddenly noticed a person standing against the wall, seemingly staring at something. Looking to the other side, another man appeared to be monitoring something. Realizing something was amiss, he unexpectedly approached the man who seemed to be watched. Intentionally knocking over his luggage and helping him pick it up, he immediately confirmed his suspicion. It turned out the mysterious figure discovered that the man's suitcase was empty, and if he was truly a passenger, he wouldn't bring an empty suitcase to the airport. His whereabouts were likely exposed, and he reported this situation to his employer, stating that as a highly intelligent individual, he had already devised a second way into the city. Meanwhile, Neely and Carla had arrived at New Generation Corporation. They presented the parking card to the supervisor, hoping to find out what the killer had done there that day. The surprising response was that he had come for an interview. This revelation shocked everyone, but after some thought, Jack believed the killer going to New Generation Corporation for an interview was likely a decoy. After going to the company, he came to hunt him down. Therefore, it was very likely that he met his employer there. To uncover the truth, they decided to sneak into New Generation Corporation at midnight to gather information. Since someone in the company had contacted the killer, there would likely be some traces left behind. New Generation was only 7 kilometers away from the police station, so they had only 2 minutes to gather information. Jack told everyone that if he didn't return within this time, they shouldn't wait for him, because he had his own way of handling things. After the instructions, everyone donned their headgear and started the operation. Having prepared the company's layout in advance, they efficiently reached the designated areas and began collecting information. Everything visible and invisible was packed into sacks. Jack unexpectedly found a bottle of Lafitte and decided to take it along. He even didn't miss the company's large group photo either. When the 2 minutes elapsed, everyone returned to the car on time, except Jack.
You see Reacher?
Nope. But he said not to wait for him.
No, I'm not leaving him here.
I don't want to go either, but I don't defy an order from Jack Reacher. He said go, we go.
Hey!
Can't believe you were gonna leave me.
Having successfully escaped the company, the group began organizing the obtained information. When they opened the company's group photo, they were utterly stunned to discover that their former teammate, Swan, was actually an employee of this company. After retiring from the military, he had donned a robber's mask, raided New Generation Corporation in the middle of the night, and engaged in a grand robbery. However, all they stole were internal company documents, as their real goal was to investigate the cause of their former teammate's death. Jack was taken aback to learn that the missing teammate, Swan, was an employee of this company and had even risen to the position of security chief. This revelation led to the suspicion that Swan might have become a traitor, causing the deaths of the other 2 team members. Jack found it hard to believe, as Swan had always been a highly trustworthy partner. He was more inclined to think that Swan was under threat from the company, leading to his disappearance. Reflecting on an incident during their special investigation team days, they had successfully uncovered a case of transporting contraband. However, when they discovered a discrepancy in the seized contraband, suspicions fell on Swan, who was responsible for transporting the stolen goods. Though they found the missing item under the driver's seat during the search, it led to a lasting distrust among the team members. Going through Swan's computer emails, they noticed that as the company's security chief, he would regularly copy emails to himself, his superiors, and 6 other security personnel as part of a team. However, there was one email he did not handle.
I was listening to an album the other day. Thought you might like it. Jimi Hendrix. Axis, Bold as Love. The 6th song is amazing. Take a listen. Tell me what you think.
Raising questions about why Swan, who supposedly disliked guitar music, hadn't processed it. Further investigation revealed that the 6th song in the series was named Little Wing. This sparked a sudden realization in Jack's mind. He had seen a federal defense project document with the codename Little Wing. It was the largest contract signed by New Generation Corporation, with a congressman placing the order. It seemed like the so-called Little Wing plan had some serious issues, prompting them to devise a plan to extract useful information from the congressman. The congressman, with a history of 2 instances of drunk driving during his college days mysteriously disappearing from his record, had a penchant for symphony music. Tonight, he was attending a concert, providing the perfect opportunity to set a trap. Jack first went to a mall, bought an elegant suit, and transformed into a suave gentleman. Carla, with her stunning dress, complemented the act. At the concert, Carla pretended to be a clueless beauty who accidentally bumped into the congressman, seeking help to find her seat. The congressman, being helpful, took her to his car. Capitalizing on the enhanced atmosphere, with a touch of illicit substances provided by Carla, the congressman was soon captivated. However, the authorities had been waiting at the entrance, and as the evidence and witnesses piled up, the congressman faced serious charges. Just as he was regretting his decisions, Jack and the team entered the interrogation room. The arresting police officer turned out to be an old friend of Jack's. They offered the congressman a deal: reveal information about the contents of the Little Wing files in exchange for dropping the charges. Faced with the prospect of serious accusations, the congressman reluctantly shared the secret. The Little Wing was a cutting-edge military technology initially designed for protecting commercial airplanes from missile attacks. When New Generation Corporation got involved, they proposed upgrading the technology for military applications. The plan involved miniaturizing the Little Wing to fit inside missiles, allowing them to change direction mid-flight, even making deliberate maneuvers away from the target and returning from behind, rendering all known countermeasures ineffective. The revelation left everyone horrified, realizing the catastrophic consequences if such technology fell into the wrong hands. The congressman mentioned that New Generation Corporation had 2 bases, one in New York developing the Little Wing software, and the other in Denver working on hardware. Jack decided they needed to go immediately to these 2 bases. He and Blondie headed to the New York base, while Carla and Neagley went to investigate the clues at the Denver base. Before setting out on this mission, they decided to have dinner. As they approached a steakhouse, a group of bikers suddenly surrounded them. Faced with the threat of guns, they reluctantly handed over their weapons. The leader of the bikers, hearing of Jack's reputed intelligence, arrogantly declared his intent to kill him.
I'm gonna gotcha. Leave you.
After a fierce exchange, Jack, relying on his explosive strength, defeated the bikers present. The leader's phone rang, and Jack answered to hear the familiar voice, realizing it was the same person who had sent the assassins last time.
Assume that's who I'm talking to? Head of security? Head of this whole thing?
Okay, Reacher. Why don't we make a deal? I have the means to give you anything you could ask for. What is it that you want?
I want to throw you out of a helicopter.
While attending a friend's funeral, Jack suddenly noticed a glint not far ahead. Realizing it was the scope of a sniper rifle, quickly drawing his pistol, he sought cover behind a tombstone and began counterattacking. Using the graves as cover, he slowly closed in on the sniper, aware that the handgun was at a disadvantage against a sniper rifle at distance. Closing in further increased the risk of being hit. As the team captain, Jack decided to draw the sniper's attention himself, allowing his team to eliminate the threat. True enough, the sniper focused on Jack, giving Neagley the opportunity to eliminate one sniper cleanly. Observing the second sniper attempting to escape, Jack pursued relentlessly. The sniper managed to jump onto a pre-prepared vehicle and tried to flee. Just in time, the sheriff's car arrived, and the pursuit ensued. Thanks to expert driving skills, they successfully forced the sniper to a stop. Jack instructed the sheriff to look away because the upcoming scene would be gruesome. The individual showed strong survival instincts, claiming to be just a hired gun. A man named Swan had paid him $500,000 to take out Jack and his companions, leading to the earlier assassination attempt. Hearing Swan's name left Jack completely stunned. His former comrade, it seemed, now sought his life. The killer explained that the remaining payment would be settled at an old warehouse, and led them there to get an idea of the number of enemies inside. To gather intel on the warehouse, Jack instructed the killer to keep his phone on speaker mode. This way, they could eavesdrop on the situation inside, any suspicious move by the killer, and they would prioritize targeting him upon entry. Crossing the street, the killer approached the warehouse. However, upon opening the door, he discovered the place seemingly empty. 3 seconds later, a powerful explosion left both of them dumbfounded. The team began discussing the situation, debating whether Swan was truly behind all this. Negley mentioned that 3 days ago, she had also come across Swan's name in a document. When she visited the hardware base of New Age Company to search for clues, the company received an alert that missiles were stolen during transportation. Upon arriving at the scene, they discovered 650 missiles missing, and Swan had filled out the transportation request form. The multiple coincidences led them to suspect that Swan had indeed betrayed them. At that moment, the police chief brought some good news. They had spotted the company's operations director on a supermarket's surveillance footage. He had gone missing since the day the missiles were stolen. With this new lead, they had a chance to uncover more details. After careful observation, Negley, with her high intelligence, noticed the director's daughter playing a Switch gaming console beside him. Zooming in on the gameplay, they were able to identify the daughter's game ID, allowing them to trace the IP address of the director's device. Following this method, they located the director, who was hiding at his ex-boyfriend's house. The team effortlessly captured him, gaining insight into the whole situation. Months ago, the company's Little Wing software chips faced significant issues, leading to the disposal of 650 defective chips. Swan discovered foul play and reported it to the director. Jack was relieved to learn that Swan hadn't betrayed them. Instead, someone had tampered with the chips intentionally. The 650 defective chips coincidentally matched the number of missiles stolen days ago, forming a tracking system for Little Wing missiles. It appeared that someone was planning a devastating terrorist attack. After the incident, their boss, Langston, threatened the director not to disclose the information, promising harm to her and her daughter if she did. Faced with no other option, she chose to go into hiding. Knowing they could contact Langston through the director, Jack devised a plan. They would use the director as bait to lure Langston out and resolve the crisis once and for all. At this point, Langston had obtained the 650 chips and missiles, instructing the engineer to prepare for the buyer's arrival. He received a call from the director, who claimed to be in the city, encountering mysterious individuals and urgently seeking protection. Jack seized this opportunity to deceive Langston, telling him to meet outside the city where they would pick him up. The director's daughter was safely placed at the police chief's house, while Jack and the team went to capture Langston. They arranged to meet in a parking lot filled with trucks, providing ample hiding spots. The plan seemed flawless, but an unexpected turn of events occurred. As the police chief was preparing to take the girl to the secret base, they were ambushed by a group of assassins. Seeking support, the chief called Jack, and during the conversation, Langston, who had stolen the director's concern, witnessed the situation. A gun fury erupted, with Langston's gunmen gaining the upper hand due to their weapon advantage and swift movements. The team had no choice but to get into their cars and prepare to escape. Seeing the pursuers closing in, Jack and the team split into two groups, knowing that Langston would target him directly. The other members headed to assist the police chief. Jack was forced into the innermost section of the parking area. The assassins disembarked to search for him, but the darkness served as his best cover. Jack stealthily approached one assassin inside a bus, silencing him until he ceased breathing. When another assassin arrived, he too fell victim to Jack's surprise attack. The last assassin, more alert, opted not to enter the bus. With all henchmen subdued, Langston was left alone and cornered. Jack sealed off all exits, destroyed Langston's car wheels, and cut off all his escape routes.
It's just you and me now, Langston. The place is surrounded by barbed wire fence. There's only one exit. You gotta get past me to reach it.
Seeing Langston's lack of response, Jack picked up the director's phone and dialed him. This move sealed Langston's fate. Jack approached step by step, but suddenly, a massive sound echoed in the sky. Witnessing the rescue, Langston quickly climbed aboard a helicopter and successfully escaped. Jack, now helpless, turned to support the police chief. However, the chief was already surrounded by several assassins. If they shot a few more rounds, even the cover behind him wouldn't hold. To protect the girl beside him, Jack decided to confront the assassins alone, buying her time to escape. With the police chief under fire, the girl managed to flee safely towards a distant location. Unfortunately, the chief couldn't withstand the enemy's bullets any longer. After dealing with 3 assassins, he was shot and fell to the ground. Just as she turned her head, the last assassin was already standing in front of her. Fortunately, Negley arrived in time and successfully knocked out the last assassin. She rushed over to check on the chief's condition, but by then, he was in too much pain to speak. The chief raised his hand, attempting to convey that he had done his best to protect the girl. However, when Negley held his hands, he quickly lost his breath. This intensified the vendetta between Jack and Langston. The group gathered to discuss, arranging a safe house for the girl. To obtain clues about Langston's deal, they now only had the injured assassin lying in the hospital bed awaiting treatment. Jack and Negley disguised themselves as doctors and quietly infiltrated the hospital room. Before the wounded assassin could scream for help, Jack swiftly choked him. Jack and Negley interrogated the assassin about Langston's arms deal address, but he claimed to know nothing. Faced with his stubbornness, Jack decided to resort to harsh measures. Due to the assassin's immobility, Jack noticed a urinary catheter attached to him. Signaling Negley with a glance, they hooked up the assassin's heart rate monitor to Negley's body. This way, the doctors would only see normal heart rate values. Jack prepared a small syringe and inserted it into the assassin's urinary catheter. As he pressed the plunger, the assassin experienced excruciating pain in his lower body. Unable to endure it, he revealed Langston's base location. Satisfied with this crucial information, Jack injected a special drug into the assassin. From the moment he killed the police chief, the assassin was destined to become a lifeless body. Leaving the assassin convulsing in pain, Jack and Negley calmly exited the room. However, in the corridor, they encountered a peculiarly dressed man, seemingly disguised as a doctor, but with nurse-exclusive tape. Sensing exposure, the man fled. Despite their pursuit, he vanished. Jack and Negley cautiously searched each room and eventually found the man lurking, preparing to ambush them. After an intense struggle, Negley found herself pinned against a wall. Fortunately, Jack arrived just in time, using a simple combination of punches to defeat their assailant. Although they hadn't interrogated him yet, it seemed he was sent by Langston to eliminate the assassin, ensuring no loose ends. Jack contacted Langston once again through the phone retrieved from the disguised man. However, this time, he wasn't surprised. Langston had prepared a backup plan by tracing the GPS on the police chief's car. He had successfully captured their teammate and demanded Jack to come to the base in Rockland County if he wanted to ensure his friend's safety. To ensure their friend's well-being, Jack lied, claiming that Negley had died during the fight with the assassin. He declared that he would go alone to the warehouse to meet Langston that night. Although the hospital would eventually discover only one corpse, Jack's deception bought them valuable time. The two arrived at the outskirts of the base and noticed the tight security measures. Armed guards patrolled 24/7, and even the electrified perimeter fence was active. Jack realized that storming in from the outside to rescue their comrade was impossible. In light of this, Jack decided he would have to fight his way out from the inside. He threw away all his weapons and approached the base gate alone, ready to face his nemesis. He knew that only one of them would leave the base tonight. Langston carefully observed Jack and was surprised by his massive build. He speculated that dropping a helicopter would create a significant impact. Ordering his men to bind Jack, Langston left to answer a phone call. However, Jack was not one to be easily subdued. In a fierce fight, Jack overpowered the henchman, but Langston returned with a gun. The hospital had called to inform him of only one corpse, suggesting Negley was still outside planning something. Langston, desperate to know Negli's whereabouts, resorted to violence, repeatedly hitting Jack when he remained silent. Jack proposed a deal, offering to reveal the location of his friend Swan in exchange for Negli's whereabouts. Langston smiled and revealed that Swan was also in the base. He showed a preserved eye and finger, the only remaining parts of Swan after the ordeal with the razor wire. These body parts were essential for signing documents and retina scans. Once done, they can shift all the blame onto Swan, creating a false impression that he absconded with the money. The group could no longer contain the burning anger within themselves. Tonight, they must make this old man pay a heavy price. Little did they know, Jack had already hidden an iron nail under his shoe. He could break free from the handcuffs in just 5 seconds. At this moment, Negli had disguised himself as a drunken youth, enjoying music and drinks on the outskirts of the base. To prevent anyone from seeing Langston leave, security opened the door to shoo away the intoxicated man. In the split second when the gate opened, someone cut off the base's power. Negli, shedding his disguise, swiftly took down the security guard. It turned out Negli had called in a few Special Forces friends for support. Sensing the unfavorable situation, Langston hastily tried to escape. However, Jack, who had already freed himself, seized weapons and initiated a ruthless counterattack. Just as Langston boarded the plane to flee, Jack leaped into action, grabbing onto the plane's wheel and ascending into the sky. In the heart of the mountains, they opened the cabin door, ready to use the same tactics to eliminate the 2 hostages. However, to Langston's surprise, Jack, like a ghost, had already successfully climbed up from the cabin door. After a fierce struggle, Langston was left dizzy and disoriented. The cunning pilot immediately stretched the plane forward, causing Kara to roll down the slope. Fortunately, Jack grabbed her in time, leaving both of them immobilized. Langston approached, relentlessly kicking Jack, but his strength was insufficient to move Jack. He ordered his subordinate to handle the situation and pulled out brass knuckles, intending to smash them into Jack's eyes. However, in the next moment, Kara managed to break free and climb up. Now Langston was bewildered. Jack calmly pulled him to the edge of the cabin door, asking about any last wishes before pushing him down without waiting for a response, as he had no interest in hearing them. Now, only the pilot remained as the person who knew the location of the trade. To save his life, he agreed to lead them to the destination. When the buyer of the tracking missiles arrived at the designated location, Negli shot his close aide, and Jack, holding a gun, instructed the buyer to enter silently. Once inside, they questioned him about the motive behind purchasing so many tracking missiles. The man, however, was evasive, claiming to be just a middleman. He professed ignorance about the buyer's intentions in purchasing the tracking missiles. Offering to share half of the intermediary fee with those present, he proposed a joint venture. Negli, after hearing this, readily agreed. The other half of the fee would be burned during next year's festival. Without intermediaries, the tracking missiles would no longer find their way into the buyer's hands. They didn't give the helicopter pilot much trouble, simply allowing him to leave. As the helicopter flew over a river and crossed the ridges, Negli calmly picked up the small wings they had been studying. The tracking missiles were launched towards the aircraft. As expected, the small wings veered in the air, then turned back to lock onto the helicopter. The resulting explosion created a spectacular display of fireworks. This dangerous journey finally ended perfectly, concluding Season 2 of Reacher. In the story's final moments, Jack distributed the $65 million brought by the buyer without missing a cent, giving it all to the families of the heroes who sacrificed themselves in the battle. The tale of the solitary macho man came to an end.